Hello everybody and welcome to 2019's first Mounties Midweek. I'm Drew Patrick. On today's show, we review some of the best moments of the winter break, we mic up Coach Szentesy for a game, and we introduce the new Mansfield Director of Athletics. Peggy Carl, a seasoned coach and administrator with over 30 years of experience, has been named the next Director of Athletics at Mansfield University. Carl comes to Mansfield from the North Coast Athletic Conference, where she was the coordinator of research and special projects. She previously served a 6-month appointment as the interim Director of Athletics at Eram College in Indiana. She also previously served at Salem State, Benoit College, and Occidental College. She is well known nationally in the world of swimming and diving. Carl has served on numerous NCAA committees and has helped organize and facilitate scores of national championships. From 2002 to 2004, she served as chair of the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championship Committee. Her 18 years as a swim coach, she produced one of the most successful swimming and diving programs in Southern California. In a statement, Carl said about this opportunity, quote, "The Mansfield University Athletic Program is poised and ready to achieve great things. I am honored and humbled to have been selected to move the Mountaineer program into the future. I am committed to enhancing the experience for all Mountaineer student athletes and staff and cannot wait to get started." From all of us here at Mounties Midweek, congratulations and welcome to Mansfield. Mansfield University's Ryan Clifford was named PSAC Indoor Track Athlete of the Week following his performance at the Highlander Invitational on Friday. Clifford raced to a first-place finish and registered the fastest time in the conference in the 5,000-meter run on Friday. The senior hit a personal best time of 15:01:42, over 50 seconds faster than the second-place finisher. Clifford holds the third fastest mile time in the PSAC at 4:27:31 and the fourth fastest 3K time with 8:59:98. The Mountaineers travel to Cornell this Saturday for the Robert Kane Invitational. Mansfield University has announced that it removed the interim tag from women's soccer head coach John Szentesy. He is just the second head coach of the Mountaineer program that was founded in 2002. Szentesy was named the interim head coach of the women's soccer team prior to the start of the 2018 season, and in his first season guiding the Mounties, Szentesy led Mansfield to its first program win since 2016, which snapped a 31-game streak and built on a promising core of young players for the future. Before his appointment here at Mansfield, Szentesy served as head coach of the boys soccer program at Wellsboro High School since 2010. Under his watch, Szentesy greatly enhanced the soccer program at Wellsboro and guided the Hornets to a District 4 championship appearance and an Elite 8 of the PIAA state tournament in 2017. He was the NTL Coach of the Year following the 2013 season. About the job, Szentesy said, quote, "I am humbled that I have been asked to lead the Mountaineer women's soccer program into the future. I believe that with hard work and a focus on positive relationships, something very special can be built here. Becoming a Mountie is a dream. I get to coach college soccer and keep my family in the area that we love," end quote. Now let's take a look at what is upcoming this week for Mountaineer Athletics. Do not go anywhere. More Mounties Midweek is on the other side.
Court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub. With exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours. The home of Division II college sports.
Now let's talk about that break with the women's basketball team as we're joined by Mia Leonard and Paige Whitfield. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about some of the break. What are the challenges of having to be here with this group over the break when there's really nothing else here? Does that help you guys focus on the games, or is that sometimes a little bit of a distraction?
Well, I know for me, I think it helps me focus more because when I'm in school, I have so many other things that I have to, give my attention to. So when we're here over the break and basketball is all we do, it's our undivided attention, and this is what we're here for. And honestly, I enjoy not having classes and being here. It's much better, but, when we wake up and we're okay, we have practice today, then it's all we have to focus on is practice. So we go, and that's, my, main, focus.
I definitely agree with that. It's mostly the classes. Whenever we do have classes all week, that's what your main focus is, and then it's oh, I have practice later. But with the break, there's no classes, so you wake up and you're oh, I'm just gonna wait around for practice, or tomorrow we have a game, so we wake up, get ready, go to the game. But with classes, you wake up, get ready for class, and you focus on class, and then you're oh, I have a game afterwards. So I definitely think there's more focus that comes with being here over break.
And looking at this group, this is a very young team. There's no juniors, one super senior, and another senior who this is her first year. So for all intents and purposes is a freshman of this group. What does that do then to you two sophomores have that year of experience in pushing you into that leadership role?
I definitely think that it just came with the seniors that we had last year. Personally, they gave such a leadership role to us that whenever we realized that we were the next older group that was here this year, that we just all stood up and kind of took control and made us all leaders. So I definitely think the freshmen do look up to all of us, including Hatch, definitely. And we just kind of came naturally, I would say, that just for.
Yeah, definitely when I last year being a freshman and having seniors to look up to, and it's not that I didn't have to be responsible, but they were my elders, and I always went to them for something. And when I realized I was gonna have to be that person for our large group of freshmen, at first I was kind of nervous, but having that foundation and seeing how the team was led and how like I could see myself leading the team. Like I think it was pretty easy to like step in and like just try to be that person that like can guide them and give them advice, even though it's only been a year for me in the PSAC previously. Just like still knowing and telling them how to do stuff, and like, but as also being like also acknowledging that I am their peer. But it did kind of come naturally, and like it's pretty nice.
And then the on-court aspect of that, you guys got extensive minutes last season too, but to also have that on-court leadership. And Mia, really, you were thrown into the fire. Thought you had a chance to learn behind one of the best players that we've had here in Brielle Kelly. She goes down with an injury. Your minutes then skyrocket, and you have to be thrown into the fire. Paige, you had opportunities all year last year. How did that help, looking into this year and seeing what has happened this year, the fact that you were able to get extensive minutes, does that help the leadership on the court?
Yeah, no, it really does. And like you said, like having Brielle Kelly did so much for me because she was so good in the post. And like just like the way she used to teach me, I like try to teach like, you know, like the freshmen and stuff, and you know, all that. And having that experience, even though it was like just due to her injury, like being thrown to the fire, I was a little nervous, but after like getting that experience and like building on it with every game that I played, every minute that I got to play, it was like, I don't know, like it all just came together. Like it helps a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Getting those minutes as a freshman on the PSAC court is definitely different than just practicing with the team. It does give you that next level aspect of the game, and both of us having that experience, I think it really showed this year with pushing our freshmen to tell them like practice isn't going to be the same as the games. Like you're going to have a little shell shock whenever like you get on the court. It's going to be completely different. Like you have to be ready for it. And I definitely think that helped us like freshmen last year getting time to converting to this year and helping our freshmen.
And looking at this year, there's been some struggles this year, and I know this is a question you guys never really want to answer, but what do you have to do to keep really the spirit up on the team and to just keep pushing forward and keep going? What do you have to say, or what do you have to do?
I think a lot of it, we always talk about our energy, definitely like in the locker room, at practice, and it definitely does come with practice mainly. I know I've noticed we had not very good practices before, and then it shows in the game, or we'll have amazing practices and it'll show in the game. Like it'll just all convert with the energy and how we enter the game and how we continue the game at halftime, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. And I just think it starts with practice and then just having the energy throughout the entire game too.
I feel like a lot of us, as far as energy, we all have pretty much good energy with each other. We all respect each other. We all have fun with each other. But we definitely do have those moments where we need to sit down, whether it's in practice or in the game, and say, this is what we're doing wrong. This is how we fix it. And it's all like, sometimes things can be interpreted in like a negative way. But I think we all come back to the fact that we know no one's trying to hurt anybody. We all have the same end goals. So when we do have those talks with each other, about like, you know, what we need to do, like we need to play together, we need to stay together, we all understand that. So I feel like those like little talks, whenever we need them and whenever we have them, they all help pull us back together.
Do you think that initial like maybe a little bit of an argument comes with youth and it's just a matter of getting, or is that like trying to build up the team chemistry thing?
I definitely do think like youth is a factor in that. I feel like when you're younger, you're either gonna have two perspectives. You're gonna have they're older, and I'm gonna listen to them and respect them as my elder, or a lot of people when they come in as freshmen, they're like, oh, I'm so good, like I know what I'm doing, and I don't have to listen to them because I know, or I can see what's going on, and like both of like. It can make it a little bit harder to build that chemistry when you have certain attitudes like that. But I feel like most of our freshmen, like all of our freshmen, respect us to the fact that we're older, and the chemistry isn't bad. It's just like little slip-ups that might cause things here and there. But we all come back together. So
I definitely agree with what she said.
So let's talk about, though, a big victory you guys got over Kutztown. That's a really good team, and able to beat them here on the home court in front of the crowd. Around the time everyone's starting to come back, How did that feel when the clock hit triple digits? We've actually talked about this, Mia, on the broadcast. But when that clock hit triple zeros and you guys were the victors, how did that feel, especially with the struggle early on?
I think everyone was just ecstatic. It was incredible, honestly, and it definitely showed in the locker room right afterwards, and even as soon as that clock went down, that we all knew that we won the game. And it was nice too how, like, whenever the game did end, we did look back and like see why we won. Like, we saw the good aspects of the game and why we're winning and why we should be winning our games, like, and we should take that game and put it into every next game that we do play.
Yeah, definitely, like, that consistent factor would help, because we did, like, as soon as we got into the locker room, we were all, you know, like, really excited on that. And I, like, asked them, I was like, do you guys, like, realize, like, we all played together and, like, we all had, like, so much support from each other, so much energy from everyone, and, like, they're all like, yeah, we get that. So, like, when that clock hit all those zeros and it was like we won, and especially against, like, Kutztown, who I think is, like, definitely high up in our,
they
like,
were
East
second in the
division.
conference.
Yeah, they're second. So it's like, if we can beat Kutztown, like, honestly, we should have beat teams that we've lost to, and we should see this as an opportunity to step it up and win more games that are coming. So it was definitely, like, a great feeling for everyone on the team.
That was a great team victory, but you two individually had great days there. Paige, you tied a career high in points, and Mia, you were a force down low, a double-double, and 6 blocks to go along with that. When things are working, when you come out and hit your first 2 threes, does that make things easier? Is that a time where you can calm down? And when you're so dominant down low, is when you know that you are having a good game, how does that elevate your play?
It definitely makes me feel more comfortable knowing that, like, I'm where I'm supposed to be and I should keep playing the way I am and I can build off of that. It's more of, like, definitely, like, a feeling too, like, you just feel more calm and relaxed, because once I know I put my first shot in, like, I feel more relaxed, I don't feel so tense, and then I can play defense, that I can get on offense, get Mia the ball. I know that she's dominating down low. I know I have her on defense for those blocks. Like, it's definitely just more of a comfortability thing too as well.
I know for me, I'm always, like, you know, I'm a little weird. When I'm, like, doing well, I always have in the back of my head that, like, you know, I have to keep it up, and I get a little nervous. But it's, like, times like those where I tell myself to, like, calm down and not to think about it, because I do play my best basketball when I'm not thinking and I just go. So, but when I am doing good and I see that and I'm like, okay, and I think about it, I'm like, well, I want to keep this up, so I also, like, try to set a goal at the same time. And it does calm down, because, like, oh, I'm doing good, even though I do have that little bit of, like, hesitation. But when I realize I'm doing good and I'm making shots, that's when I'm like, okay, don't think, just do, and it usually turns out pretty well.
So this week coming up, a tough challenge on Wednesday as you guys face one of the best players in the conference, in Ariel Jones. And Paige, as a guard, that might be on you to cover her. So what do you expect from that team, and maybe her specifically?
Her specifically, I'm glad we got to play against her last year, knowing that she's going to jack shots. They're number one. Like, they're going to look for her to score. We're already setting up for their plays. We're going to know those like the back of our hands. I just think it's important for our guards to know that if you're on Ariel Jones or any of the other guards that are three-point shooters, drivers, know their personnel, know what they can do, and we can stop their plays. I think they're still a beatable team. I think we have a good chance.
And what do you expect down low from that squad?
Well, I know they have, I believe, a new post player who I heard is, like, pretty physical, and she'll try to, like, do her part too. But as far as that goes, I'm not really sure what exactly she's bringing. And, like, with Ariel Jones, I heard, like, the post player set screens. We'll have to have some help side, because I'm fully prepared to help off Ariel on any screen or anything, because I know for the most part she'll probably try to shoot it before she passes it. So if my player gets hit with a screen or it's a little late, I'm, like, prepared to step up, and that, like, honestly, I'm gonna let the post player show me that I'll have to play her a little bit more before I completely commit to it. But I definitely do plan on maybe getting a couple more blocks in the
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then Saturday, you come back home, face Bloomsburg. What do you expect from that? Obviously, we don't want you looking past Wednesday, but what do you expect from that as you get to come back home?
Bloomsburg is a very athletic team. I feel like they don't really get tired, and they have like Taylor Montana, who's very athletic, and she'll be pretty like that'll be a job for me to do. But they're doing really well right now. I know they had one player who shot a lot of threes against us last year, and we'll definitely have to watch out for that. I know that they work together pretty well, and it's gonna be difficult, but I feel like if we stay together, we'll be able to definitely keep up with them and beat them. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. From what I remember, they're a little bit taller. They definitely have a little height on us, but we definitely have been working on our transition, which we haven't really done much lately, which I think can really come into play on Saturday for sure. And with our bench, we have many players that can run up and down the court. We can run them in transition. I think that'll be key.
All right, well, thank you both so much for stopping by here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And Mounties Midweek continues right after this. Do not go anywhere.
As I've gone through school, I've been trying to pay off my tuition as I go, and it wouldn't have been possible without the help of the Mansfield Foundation.
I mean, the Mansfield Foundation already helped me a lot. As of right now, I don't have any school debt whatsoever, and I know the Mansfield Foundation has definitely helped with all the scholarships that I've received over the years for that.
The Mansfield Foundation has helped me out several times throughout my college career. They have helped keep my finances intact.
If you have any sort of instincts, you can get a feel of good people and bad people. Like the people at the foundation are as straightforward as they come.
Let us now talk about that men's basketball squad with head coach John Szentesy. Coach, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate it.
So over the break, obviously, look, there were injuries that have rattled this team, and obviously the games haven't gone the way you expected. But what were some of the positives that you can take away from these games over the break?
Well, I think it gives an opportunity for other players to get some playing time that have been able to develop a little bit quicker than maybe they normally would have if there weren't injuries. Anthony McFall, I think, has gained some valuable playing time lately as a freshman due to some of the injuries, but he's also worked on his game, and he's improved and earned some playing time. Keith Farmer is very similar. Keith's moved into a starting position several times for us, depending on the matchup of our opponent. So that's been able to get some of those guys some experience. And I think there's not really any kind of substitute for actual playing time, game experience. So from that regard, I think we're improving. The break can be challenging given there are no classes. There aren't too many other students around campus. But I think one of the better things that happened was that from my standpoint, is that classes started again,
Yeah.
and it kind of brings a little bit more buzz around campus and gets the players into a routine of academics, practice, study table. So I'm glad that we're back in school, and I think the last week to week and a half have been very good for us practice-wise and competition-wise.
Yeah, Coach, I was going to ask you, because I asked the women's basketball team, like, when you're a student and it's the break, does that help you? But as a coach, during the break, when there's really nothing else going on and the primary focus is basketball, but also there's a lot more free time, is that more concerning to you or less because their focus should be mainly on the basketball?
It's probably more concerning to me as a coach, maybe to the players the exact opposite is my guess. It gives them more time to sleep and play video games and whatever else is going on, and less time. Obviously, there's no academics involved at this point. So in basketball-wise, we're not putting them through 3-a-days and over the break, and you don't want to burn them out and lose them either. So we watch film and we practice, and then we travel, for away games, obviously, and home games. We have a couple of those. So it can be challenging from a coaching standpoint to keep them together and focused when there isn't a whole lot else happening for them at that point in time.
And Coach, obviously this is a question that you would rather not be answering at this point, but how do you keep the team up? How do you keep all those mindsets focused on the season, even though it hasn't gone the way you expected and the way you were wanted? As a coach, what do you have to do to keep everyone positive?
Well, it's certainly a challenge, but one of the things that we have to do as coaches is remain as positive as possible. I mean, the second you start, in my opinion, being negative on every little thing in practice or outside of practice, the team tones you out. And I think being positive is number one. I mean, you have to look at the positives in each practice, each game, and focus on the negatives in terms of where we need improvement. And we know where those are at this point in time. But if we can come to practice with positive attitudes and positive energy, I think that's the key to it right now, or else you may lose them in terms of their willingness to participate and play hard. And I think we're succeeding so far in that regard, as hard as it may be. And I respect our players tremendously for sticking together. I think that's one thing we've been able to do, and more recently so as well. We've had, I think, a very good week of practice and a solid game against a very good team the other night. We're hoping to continue that momentum this week.
Yeah, the past week, you guys have had to go against arguably the top two players and the top two scorers, definitely, in the PSAC, in Anthony Lee of Kutztown and Micah Till, who may be one of the best players in the entire country. Getting those players and having your guys see guys of that caliber and what they're doing, do you think that's a benefit for them?
It is, and I'm going to say this is the good thing is we don't have to see Micah Till again the rest of the season. The bad thing is we get to see Anthony Lee again. Anthony Lee is so good shooting the ball from the perimeter, but he's not just a shooter. He can score in a lot of different ways, and we put some of our best defenders on him throughout the game, and it was difficult to slow him down at times. He doesn't need a lot of space to get a shot off, and he's very confident and just an outstanding player. And Micah Till can hurt you in a lot of ways. He can shoot the three-pointer. He's a big guy, so he scores in the post. He rebounds well, passes well, and he's a handful to deal with. And I thought we competed with him very, very well, which to me makes us a better team. When you play against players of that caliber, you've got to prepare yourself mentally to not get beat and physically to compete. So I feel that Anthony Lee got off early in the first half against us, and we contained him a little bit better in the second half. And Micah Till we made him work for everything he got, and he knows that. So I was happy with our effort in that game. But I do believe playing against players of that caliber helps us.
So let's talk about that Slippery Rock game. You mentioned Micah Till. That team came in the hottest team in the conference, 9 straight wins going into it. You guys played that team extremely tough. What do you have to use from that game really to get you guys over the hump and steal a game like that?
I think you're right. We played them very tough for 38, 39 minutes, I think. And I think what we learned is that, first of all, we can compete with anybody if we really put our minds to it. And a challenge like a team like Slippery Rock presents to you is also an opportunity. So they just beat an IUP who was undefeated and third in the country. And like you said, they're as hot as anybody in the conference. And so that presents a challenge to us, but an opportunity to surprise. And I think our effort on the defensive end, especially in the first half, shows that that's the kind of effort you need to come out with every single day in practice, especially because you'll play how you practice. And we've got to have that energy and intensity in practice and carry that over into games and know that if you do that, you will put yourself in position to win.
And with that, the team going forward, the fact that you guys know you hung with a Slippery Rock team, being the underdog in a lot of games, is that a spot as a coach you're okay with because you can surprise teams and maybe some teams aren't on paper taking you seriously?
I guess I don't use that term a whole lot, and when the ball is tossed up to start the game, it's 5-on-5 in my mind, and maybe they have 6'8", 6'9" in their front court, and we may have 6'3", 6'4". You can look at that as, okay, yeah, we may be an underdog. We're just maybe a little smaller. Maybe we can use some speed to our advantage. Or offensively, we moved the ball very well in our last game that we're going to be able to knock down some perimeter shots because we don't have that big post presence. So we just have to adjust to what the challenges are presented to us from our opponent. And technically, I guess you would say we're underdogs in most games. I just typically don't look at it that way with our team too often. I have once or twice that we can surprise some teams, and I know Slippery Rock has a respect for us. I mean, Micah Till told me that after the game. He was very impressed with how we played, the energy and intensity we played with, and he had to work for everything he got. So I'd say we took a step forward in that game, and yeah, we got Shippensburg on the road tomorrow, which is a whole nother challenge and opportunity because they shoot the ball very well from the perimeter. Their 1 through 4 shoots from the perimeter very well. They're 5-man typically. We're not going to have to guard them too much on the perimeter, but they rebound extremely well. Every player on their team rebounds well. And then Shippensburg's a team typically year in and year out, they don't beat themselves. They take care of the ball, they box out and rebound. They pass well, they defend well, and they're going to force their opponent to beat themselves. And so we've got to play smart and we got to play hard and rebound.
You've been home for a couple of games, and now you get to travel out there during the time when classes are back. Does that then come back into play when you're preparing for a road trip?
Oh, sure. Because of classes being involved, players will have to miss some class time when the bus leaves tomorrow, and getting back as late as we're going to get back tomorrow night, they've got to get up and go to class on Thursday morning, whether they like it or they're not going to like it. But that's what we've got to do. So in terms of preparation, we don't have I wouldn't say as much time. Coaches have enough time to prepare, but the Slippery Rock game, and I've kind of changed, I think, my philosophy moving forward on that. And I'm going to focus more on us than I am our opponents. Now I'm focusing on our opponents. Don't get me wrong. Don't take that the wrong way. But in the past, I've had paragraphs of each player for our opponents and a scouting report and everything but when their birthdays are, I think, so that our players are comfortable and familiar with them. And I realized, Slippery Rock, before that game, I said, you know what, I'm going to focus more on us going into this game. And I had a lot less information on each of their players and what they do offensively, and I'm more focused on us. And I think I may continue that moving forward. Let's worry about what we can control and less about our opponents, and we'll adjust throughout the game.
And then looking forward to Saturday, Bloomsburg comes into town. What do you expect from that group and from our group against that team?
I anticipate us having another good practice today and a great effort tomorrow, and continue with solid effort and practice throughout the week, and that having a weekend home game when classes are back. I expect to have a good crowd on Saturday afternoon with Bloomsburg coming into town, and certainly a team that presents other challenges as well. They have a very, very good point guard who's extremely quick. They have some size and athleticism. They got a freshman that's going to be a really good player in this league. He's already a good player, and he starts for them. They've got some pieces, and I feel like this year's Bloomsburg team moves the ball better offensively than they have in the past. And although they don't have that one guy like Christian Mordelate that can go out and get you 40 points, I think they've got 5 guys on the floor that have good chemistry and play well together. So I expect a tough game Saturday. I expect us to compete for 40 minutes. And hopefully at the end of the game, we've got more points than they do.
And Coach, I don't like making you look way ahead in the future, but next Tuesday, kind of a little bit of a break in the rhythm that some of these players might have playing Wednesdays and Saturdays. But a Tuesday game next week against Frostburg State, a non-conference opponent. How do you kind of prepare for that? Not only the break in rhythm, but switching back to a non-conference opponent.
So Saturday's game, Bloomsburg, we will have then Sunday off from team activities, and then Monday we hopefully will be able to do a little bit more in practice leading up to a game, since we didn't practice the day before. But we don't have a lot of time to prepare for Frostburg that we normally would going into with Wednesday, Saturday games. It's kind of a game that I picked up late in the fall due to Mercy originally was on our schedule for January 30th, I believe it was, and they had to back out of that game for some reason last summer. I'm not sure exactly what occurred. So I kind of wanted to try to find a team to come in and play us to make up for that game. And it was a challenge to find somebody that hadn't already filled their schedule. So Frostburg State and I went back and forth all through the fall trying to figure out, who could. I needed a home game. They wanted a home game. So we came to a compromise. We will travel there next year. They're a provisional Division II team. So, they're going to present their own set of challenges, but it'll be a non-conference game for both of us. They have to travel here. I'm not sure it's a long trip. I'm not sure exactly how far that's going to be. We'll find out next year. But it's going to be a game that's a home game, so we ought to be able to be up for it. And I tell our team, especially before every home game, and fortunately, I guess we don't really have seniors this year, but you only have a certain number of opportunities to play on your home court. And I don't care who you're playing against. If you can't get energized and prepared to play, especially a home game, then maybe we ought to rethink what we're doing. So I expect us to come out hard and hopefully have a good crowd that night as well. And I expect us to compete and win like I do every day. But it is a non-conference game, so it is kind of strange to throw that out there in the middle of the season, middle of your conference schedule. But we originally had a game scheduled anyway. It's just we're playing a different team now instead of Mercy.
All right, absolutely. Coach, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it.
Mounties Midweek rolls on after this, but also after the break, we'll have more with Coach, as we had a chance to mic him up for the game against Lock Haven, and you won't want to miss that. Stay right here.
Part of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven, conveniently located, yet worlds apart.
With 10 state parks, 2 federal parks, and over 400,000 acres of state forest land, outdoor recreation certainly does live here, offering hiking, biking, horseback riding, ATV trails, hunting, snowmobiling, cross-country skiing, and so much more.
Close to many urban areas, but far away from the hustle and bustle, you'll feel like you've found a hidden corner of the East Coast where you can experience world-class, authentic outdoor adventure. Whether it's a family outing, a personal challenge, or even a leisurely walk, it all takes on a new perspective in these spectacular surroundings.
Follow our gurus through the Step Outdoor series at visitpottertioga.com and start planning your adventures today.
It's a small community, close-knit, it's beautiful. Now, as we join UPMC, it just opens a whole new world.
Together, UPMC and Susquehanna Health are bringing life-changing medicine to north central Pennsylvania.
UPMC brings extraordinary innovation to virtually every aspect of the work we do.
Exchanging ideas, sharing research, it's a tremendous opportunity to learn in real time with world-class experts.
Changing lives every day. UPMC Susquehanna.
in about 5 seconds.
Hey, we know who we got. We know who we got.
5. All right. Hey, remember on free throws, huddle up. You guys get them, huddle up on free throws. Try to get back into that.
Coming up, Ty, coming up.
Floater. Good hands. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Give it up, give it up, give it up. Good. Move. Ah, he did it.
Way to move it. You good?
That's his one. That's his one. He always does that early. All right, Rail. All right, Rail. Get a stop. Get a stop.
No, where you at? You good?
Nah, that was a travel. Next one won't be though. Yep. Oh yes. Finish.
Every time. Let's go. Hey, here we go, Black.
Washington.
Good. Get right here. Patience, patience, you're good. Patience, patience.
Good job! Good job, play! Hey, if you get caught, just
Defensively, the last couple possessions were pretty. It is. So we slipped. When Sweeney slipped, he was wide open.
we just got to overload and keep running, honestly, in my opinion. If they're going to switch everything, run overload. Yeah, they're switching once they're forward.
Yeah. Should we switch? Are we good?
You were open to one.
Hey. And go ahead, they're switching everything, right? Or pretty much everything?
Overload.
That's what I was just going to say. They switch with space. So when there's space, slip it. You're going to get a layup. You're going to get a layup. You already did. Was that? Attack the gap. We got.
Offensively start an overload. Keep run overload every single time. If there's 10 seconds left, we get it back, run regular, okay? Overload every time, slip it, move the ball. You know, if 4 gets it, 2 cut through, defensively, ice every time. Call it, get in it, get tough shots. 23's got 2 open 3s. It's the only reason why they're in this game.
Let's go. We're fine.
Get out.
We're fine.
Let's go. Together on 3. 1, 2, 3, together.
Let's go.
Watch the double. Watch the rip. Watch help. Watch ice.
That's a good slip. Ooh.
Active, stay in front, sweetie. Who's got his help?
Good job, Nas. Good job, Nas.
Active. Help. Good.
Harry, yeah.
Good job, baby. Good.
Good job. All right, you're good. Have a seat. Get a seat.
Hey, bro. Yeah, you good. Stay in.
We have to rebound. We cannot give. They're beating us 20-15. It's not awful. We've had worse. But we need to be beating these guys on the glass. We only have 5 assists and 4 of them were probably in the first 6 minutes of the game because we got stagnant. We stood around. We got to, like Riley just mentioned, we got to cut through the middle somehow. Make cuts because it's wide open. And then Moss trying to make a play one-on-one. Moff and Eli both missed kickouts. We got to look to kick. Every time we get in the paint, just look to kick unless there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Then you got to shoot it. But we get in the paint. I know you had a real good one, I think, to Sweeney early, one of your assists. It was a great look. You kicked out. He's wide open, knocked it down. We made it look easy early, and then we made it harder on ourselves later because we took some bad shots and then they got in transition, and we didn't get back. They got buckets easy in transition. But know that they're not going to shoot 8 of 13 in the second half. If they do, you can crucify me all you want. But you still got to get a hand up on some of these. We can't just let them shoot. At least get a hand up. All right, let's go.
Cut hard, Naj.
Good roll.
Good job.
That's it. Get a stop. Good job, Sweeney. Shot, Ma. Hey, we. Right. Hey, he just got that bucket transition because we didn't. Well, no. It's all 5 of us. Sweeney was all the way down here, and he's the only one that made it the whole way back. So we gotta stop. We gotta get back quicker. All right.
Do something good and then do that. All right. Let's go. We got 10 minutes.
This is our run. Yes, plenty of time. This is our time to run. Doing a hell of a job. You are doing a good job this year. Thank you. You too. Hey, way to play, man. Way to play. Good job, coach. Good job. Good game, big man. Good game. Good game, big man. Good game. Good game. Way to play. Good game, guys. Good game. Good game. Good game, guys. Good game. Good game.
Welcome back here to Sports Talk. Let's continue to talk men's basketball as now we have Taylor Sweeney at the desk with us. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure.
So over the break, I had a chance to speak with both the women's team and Coach Szentesy about what happens at the break and the fact that you guys have a focus primarily just on basketball. There's no classes going on. Do you think that helps or hurts you guys over the break?
I think it definitely helps us not having to worry about classes and whatnot because personally, classes obviously make me a lot more stressed out. And a lot of times, even during practice, I'm thinking about, oh, I have to do this homework. I have to do this after practice. So it was nice to just get that out and only be able to just focus on basketball. And obviously, you can play more throughout the day. Like you can have 2-3 practices throughout the day rather than just one for like an hour, hour 45 because everyone has classes.
This year with you guys, there's been a lot of injuries and a lot of kind of switches depending on the matchups in the starting lineup. What do you have to do to continually have a rhythm with whoever is with that starting group and whoever is on the floor? What are the challenges of that?
Honestly, people just have to understand their roles. A lot of times when someone goes down, especially like Boz Bernstein, who's one of our leaders, a lot of people think, oh, I have to fill this void, I have to play like this person, I have to do this, rather than just like, I'm gonna play my role and just view it more of like a next man up type deal. And that's how I think that our reserves and our people who may have not have got big minutes, but now they are, I feel like that's how they have to approach it.
Is that an easy switch to flip in your brain, that to be the next man up and
Definitely
just
not.
do yours?
Because personally, me last year, who didn't play because of things off the court, and then instantly Coach Zip started me one game, it was a huge shock because I really didn't know what to do, and I was very out of shape because it's a big difference between practice shape and game shape. Because in practice, you don't really have that mental weight on you, and in the game, you're thinking of so much other things, and then as a result, your body will become more tired.
And you know what, speaking of that and conditioning and all that, you are leading the conference in minutes played most of the time out there for the entire game.
Yes, sir.
What has been, how has that change been for you to focus on the conditioning, to be able to play 40 minutes?
Honestly, it was tough in the beginning, but after you get into that rhythm and it started to be consistent where I was playing these minutes every night, you kind of find your spots where, okay, like I should be sprinting here, I should, you know, take it a little off here. But I mean, you can't view with that mindset, obviously, because you're supposed to be going hard the whole game. But as you keep playing and keep going, like when I first did it, I was very tired. But now it's a lot easier for me to play 40 minutes, and I'm rarely tired.
Is that just a thing of conditioning, or does your body go into that rhythm of, of not even thinking about it?
Like when I play, like I know that I'm gonna probably play 40 minutes, and you know, over time your mind adjusts and you become more accustomed to it.
And let's talk about some of the games over the break. Starting the last couple of weeks, or the last week, you guys have faced arguably the top two scorers in the conference, but maybe the best players in the conference, in Anthony Lee and Micah Till. And when you guys get to see a player who has had the years that they have had and had the success that they have had, how does that help you guys, knowing that you have to go against that?
I mean, you just have to view it as competition, because I know these guys are good. These guys are great scorers, but we have those tools too. We have people who can score the ball, and we have people who can defend those great scorers even better.
And then Slippery Rock, let's focus on that specifically. You guys hung with maybe the hottest team in the conference. What kind of confidence does that give you guys going forward? And then what do you have to do to really be able to get over that hump and steal a game like that?
Well, it was big for us because it obviously catapulted our confidence way up because we haven't really been in games recently. And for them, who's arguably the best team in the entire conference, East and West, to battle them throughout the whole game and kind of earn their respect, I feel like even though we did lose, I feel like that still should turn some heads throughout the league, proving that we can be in games with anyone when we play competitively, and when obviously we rebounded way better than we normally do.
And then what do you have to do then to be able to get over that hump and steal a game like that?
I feel like we just have to get that one win, and then after we get that win, then I feel like they'll start to pile up a lot more. Because sometimes in games it's like, because we haven't had a lot of success, sometimes we'll get up by a little bit, and then it's like a shock. It's like, oh man, like we're up right now, and then there's no time to think like that in the game of basketball because it's so fast paced. So by the time that thought even crosses your mind, boom, the other team went on like a 10-0 run.
Do you think it has been more of a mental thing this year than the on the court aspects of it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially dealing with the injuries that have took place, a lot of people started to single us out throughout the conference and even throughout our own school. Not having, say, like a solid big man, we don't have anyone who really plays back to the basket. We have like 5 guards that really start. So obviously people are going to single you out when you see this size disparity. But we just can't let that get to us.
So this week coming up, let's start with Shippensburg. What do you see from them? What do you expect from that squad?
Well, they always play very well as a team. They're well coached, and I know they have 5 people that can shoot the ball. So like every game, our biggest key is going to be rebounding, because the main reason we lose games is because of turnovers and second chance points. And last game, I think it was something like we only allowed like 14 points off turnovers and second chance points. Usually that number's like 40. So that's the correlation between us being in a game and us losing by that amount, between 14 and 40. So we have to box out our man, get every rebound, not allow second chance points, and we got to take care of the ball, in my opinion. And I think if that happens, everything else will take care of itself.
And, you know, when you get back into the swing of thing of classes, and that Wednesday, the Shippensburg game, having to travel, does that have an impact on you guys at all, the fact that you're now back into the swing of things, back into classes, and really have to miss a day?
Yeah. I think that first one, you're kind of like, it kind of hits you, and then I feel like when you get back to that rhythm, you kind of find where, okay, I can bring my books here, I can study, and then you kind of get yourself into a routine. But that first trip is definitely going to be like, especially if you miss class, because personally I don't. I only have a 9:30 and a 10:30. But for people that do, I would definitely understand.
And then obviously I don't want you guys looking too far ahead, but this Saturday you get to come back here into the friendly confines of Decker Gym and take on a Bloomsburg squad. What do you expect in that match?
Yeah, we definitely have to win that one. I think that's one we've been looking at our schedule. We have to get that win. Every game at home, really, we want to give everyone a battle and try to get the win.
And then again, same story, but you've talked a lot about rhythm here. Having the games, knowing that you're going to have a Saturday and a Wednesday, that kind of breaks coming up here in the future. Next Tuesday, Frostburg State, it's a non-conference game and really a day shorter. Do you think that last week, that Slippery Rock game, being moved back a day, kind of helped in this practice of breaking the rhythm?
I don't think it was really the day the game was on. I just think it was how we approached it. We practiced a lot more intensely and a lot better than we did before the Slippery Rock game, which was easily our best practice of the year. And that's why, personally, I think that we were so in the game. And even though it was one of the best teams in the conference, if not the best team in the conference.
All right, Taylor, well, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this.
Of Mother Nature's perfect blend, the keystone of the Keystone State. Visit Potter Tioga, a 2-county scenic outdoor haven conveniently located, yet worlds apart. A place where you can kick back, unwind, and forget about the pressures of life. Disconnect and reconnect with your friends, family, or even yourself while surrounded by nature's beauty. So start planning your adventures today at visitpottertioga.com.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's continue now to talk some indoor track and field as we're joined by two new faces for the Mountaineer squad, Caden Fisher and Mamadou Diallo. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with this being the indoor season. Had you guys done indoor track and field before coming here to Mansfield?
You want to start us off?
Yeah, I did it for the last 3 years at Williamsport. We have not like an indoor track, we have like an indoor little room. And that's where all of us trained. And then we would go to Penn State, Susquehanna, just colleges just for meets.
And I've never, actually Houghton was the first time I ever seen an indoor track. I've never been inside an indoor track, ran inside an indoor track, but I live right next to the Armory in New York City, which is real famous.
Oh yes.
But I just never knew there was an indoor track on the inside. So learning how to run around the turns, 2 turns for a 400, it was kind of new to me and shocking. So yeah, it's my first time.
So with that, what were some of the challenges, I guess, for you now going from high school to the college level of indoor track, but also UMO to realize that, oh, we've got to train for this, a different style of track. What were those transitions like for you two?
I remember going into the indoor season, I thought I was the king of stuff. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna run. It's easier. There's no wind holding me back, so I can definitely run faster. But I got told by one of the seniors on the team, his name is Nick, he goes, well, it's indoor and there's 2 turns if you haven't realized, and it makes it harder because you have to go twice and dip your shoulder when you're hitting the turns. And I thought it was gonna be easy, and then I get to the track and I'm realizing I'm 1 to 2 seconds slower than I normally am, and it really took a toll on me.
Well, for me, the hurdles in high school were 39 inches, and here in college are 42 inches. So it doesn't seem like a big difference, but it's a lot big difference. But I think that all the stretching, and in high school I didn't lift a lot, so now the lifting and all that is helping me get over the hurdles and get faster times than I did in high school.
So being that you guys are new faces, what really drew you here to Mansfield University?
The opportunity to compete at a higher level, because everybody hears about Division III and stuff, and it's usually kids that they're good at what they do and they like to go there and they like to compete, but when you hear Division II, it just rings, it makes you think oh, okay, he's a serious athlete. And I always wanted to say, I've always wanted to run D2 or play a D2 sport or something like that. So I came to Mansfield for that, and plus it was an opportunity to further my education, and it seems to have worked out so far.
I've also wanted to go to a D2 school, but the options, nursing wasn't that good. And also when I came here to visit, I talked to Coach Mack, and he really persuaded me to come here. He said he'll help me out with everything and all that.
So let's talk about some of these meets. I had a chance to go up to RIT and see you guys, and Caden, I got to come back to you. You and Nick Ockenbaugh, you guys were kind of friendly jawing back and forth before the 60, and then you guys finished 1 and 2, and you won by 0.300ths of a second. It was a neck and neck finish. How did that feel?
That felt really good because we already had we had 1 meet before that, and Nick beat me. So I really wanted to get back at him for being a big senior and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. We'd get competitive back and forth, friendly.
And then Mamadou, a great showing for you as well there at RIT. In that meet, how did you feel?
It was like I said before, it was a learning experience because I'd never run a 500 before. I didn't even know they had 500 in track, to be honest. So I'm asking Nick, how are you supposed to pace this? Because they put me and Nick in the same heat, so he has a competition with Nick. I'm trying to make sure I'm either right there with him or 1 second behind him because he's been doing this for so long. So basically, I was trying to figure out what to do during the meet. I was nervous the whole time. And then going from event to event to event, you saw me do a 500. And then 5 minutes later go to a 60 final where my legs were completely gone. So it was definitely a learning experience. But.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that you had that quick turnaround. How do you think that's gonna help though, looking forward, that you had to go, oh man, this is a way too quick turnaround for me, but go in and really still compete in that 60?
I think it's gonna help me in the one event that I really want is the 400. I really want to qualify for that. So imagine running a 500 and then coming back and running a 60. So that last 100 meters, when you're trying to fight with everything you have basically nothing left. It's gonna help me in that 400, that last 100 meters, because I know I can push myself because I just did a 5. So a 4 shouldn't be that bad. I just gotta, push through the line and hopefully get the times.
And then this past week, Houghton on a Friday. There was a lot of snow here, but you guys were nice and indoor. How do you feel that meet went for you too?
The 60, it went okay. It wasn't what I expected. Granted, there was a whole lot better competition. BU, Buffalo University was there. There's a guy that runs the 702 was there. So 60 is not my event, but I still wanted to compete. And then the 300, I was happy with because I saw the time that I was seated at. I got put in a 39 heat, which basically means like I'm gonna be running with those guys. But then I ended up like finishing 3rd overall in the meet in my time, so I was pretty happy with that. So.
Yeah, for the 60 hurdles, the trials didn't go as well. I got like above 9 seconds, which isn't good. But I still made finals. And then in finals, I did pretty good. I got, I think, 4th overall out of like 26 people. So I thought that was a pretty good meet.
And then this week, Ithaca comes up as you go up to Cornell University. What do you expect from that meet? And what are you looking forward to and your goals?
Try to get a faster 400 time because we have like this training regimen where he puts me in a 4, and then he puts me in different events so that I can like see variety. Maybe he'll put me in a 5, maybe he'll put me in a 6, maybe he'll put me in a 3. That way I don't have to worry so much about the 4. But this weekend I'm really focused on the 4, trying to like get there and hit those times. And then hopefully the week after that we go to Ohio, which is a bigger track. So it should be easier to run the 4 since you've done all this hard work already. So.
My goal is just to get a faster time and just beat Nick again.
You know, you mentioned that. How important is it to be able to train with a senior like Nick Ockenbaugh, who has been here, who has succeeded at this level? How important has that been for both of you?
When you go from a team that, I'm not saying that I was the best person on my old school's team, but there was definitely nobody who ran the same times as me, except for one guy, and he was running a totally different event. So I wasn't like, I think I was more cocky in my old school, but here I'm like a little bit more humbled because I can see like, oh snap, like I can't just waltz into practice whenever I want like I used to and think like I'm big dog and stuff like that. He actually runs the times, he has the times to prove it. And then there's PSEX, which is like ultimate competition. It's like, wow, okay.
Whenever like coming in, I see like how hard like Nick works, and like he gets the results from his work. Like you see, he got 3rd in PSEX last year for the 400 hurdles, and that really like motivates me to work because then that's what I want to do is like get on the podium for the 110 hurdles hopefully in the next 4 years. But working with him, it really pushed me a lot.
A lot of people, when they look at track and field, they go, oh, that's an individual sport. You focus on yourself. But how is the team camaraderie with you guys coming in here, really being the new faces with this group? How does this group work as a team?
I mean, you guys are going to be training. Granted, you do individual events, but you guys train together, so you're going to have to push each other to get better. You know what I mean? Nobody likes to just train by themselves and go at a certain pace. You need somebody to like up the pace for you so that you can try to up the pace. And in that sense, we're all working together towards one goal. We want to like do well in PSEX and represent Mansfield the way we should, you know? So I guess I can say like training is where you build all that camaraderie, not so much in the race, but training is where it happens.
Same thing, just like every morning we have lifting, we all lift together. In the afternoons we have practices together, and that's just how we just all work together. And we push each other at meets.
And Caden, I can't go without asking you. Also, you're a two-sport athlete here for the most part at Mansfield, as you were also at the end of the year the kicker for the sprint football program. How was that experience like for you, especially your first semester here, getting that experience of being in the athletic schedule to get you started right away?
I thought it was really fun. It's a lot different from like high school, because in high school I played soccer, and then coming here they don't have a men's soccer team. So I was like, all right, I want something to do like besides just schoolwork. So then I joined, or like I talked to my coach, and then he went and talked to the football coach, and then they had me come to practice and try out, and like all the football guys like stood around me and were like barking at me and like before I like just to practice, and then I made it, and then I just joined the last 2 games, had a pretty good couple kicks, and yeah, that's how I finished.
All right, well, both of you, thank you so much for stopping by here.
Thank you.
Problem. Thank you.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere. All right, easy as that. Thank you, guys.
Court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
We are now going to have a very special play of the break. We have broken it up into 3 categories with 3 plays based on the teams that were in action. Let's start with the women's basketball plays first. We go back to November 28th for the first one, and Mackenzie Hatch gets the rebound and turns on the Jets.
This one off the corner, no good. Hatch right there, and she will take off herself. Going coast to coast, Mackenzie Hatch.
Our second play comes from January 5th, Mansfield against Lock Haven. And look at this, textbook ball movement, passes down to Noelle Cameron, who says, I got this, takes the baseline, goes up and under, and gets the bucket. Our third play for the women's basketball category comes from January 12th, the quarter winding down, and Kira Merritt does this.
Lister in transition. We've seen it so often, and with 1 second left, the half-court heave is good. Hello from Kira Merritt.
You can vote on Twitter at Mountie All Access for which one of those plays is the best women's basketball play of the break. Let's now move on into the men's basketball category. Our first play once again comes from the 28th of November, and Salem University trying to go on transition, but Tyler Moff says, not in this house, and gets the big block. Take another look.
Aaron Moff was trying to get something set up, pass underneath. The shot is blocked by Tyler Moff.
Our second play comes from December 30th, and East Stroudsburg is in town, and Mike Rell goes one-on-one.
Over to Rell. And Rell will just backtrack. Rell going one-on-one, taking it himself, some fancy footwork.
The third men's basketball play comes from that same game, and Nas Marshburn gets the steal, and he does this.
Giordano. Back to the top, was tipped away by Marshburn. Hello!
To pick the best men's play of the break, head over to Mountie All Access on Twitter. The final category is the track and field category, and we head to Rochester Institute of Technology for our first 2 plays. The 60-meter hurdles, it's a battle between teammates Caden Fisher and Nicholas Auchenbaugh. The gun goes off. These 2 neck and finish 1 and 2, and the freshman gets the better of the senior. Fisher gets the race by 0.03 of a second. We stay on this track. Later in the meet, Jenny Bellaflor in the 200-meter dash. Things are getting close around the final turn, and Flor Bellaflor, Jenny gets the victory in the 200 by 100ths of a second. Our final play doesn't actually come from a meet, but we definitely want to highlight the absolute dedication that is Ryan Clifford, who spent an hour shoveling the track just so he could get in a workout. Hey, look, Ryan Clifford might be a crazy human being, but you kind of have to be to do track and field. To be an athlete there, you got to be a little bit crazy. Great job for him, able to get in that workout and the dedication. Make sure you vote for which play is the track and field play of the break.
Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
Oh, what a play!
18 universities.
How competitive is this?
23 championships.
It's over. We have new PSAC champs.
7,100 student athletes. Make the PSAC yours.
My PSAC is passion.
My PSAC is pride.
PSAC is Pennsylvania.
Passion, pride, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference.
That is our show. To stay up to date on everything Mountaineer athletics, head to GoMounties.com. And remember, Out of His League will return next week with the women's basketball team. Thank you for watching.